I think before you joined Paystack, or while you were early days in Paystack, you used to write a lot about the ecosystem. And now you are in it, right? And I know like people watching, the developers will be watching now.
Yeah.
Most of them are building apps, they are building platforms. For you and all the data you've seen, what do you think will be happening in the market?
Oh, wow. Or rather, no, MTN Ghana was the world's first ever mobile money-based initial public offering.
Okay.
It hasn't happened anywhere in the world where they're listing shares and it's being sold on mobile money wallets. Yeah. So that's how I figured out what I wanted to do. Once I figured out that I don't want to do finance.
in the midst of this transition, like thinking you probably like engineering, and you got to realize that's not the kind of engineer you want to be. Then you get to financial, you realize that's not the kind of thing you want to be. How did they feel transitioning in all these things? Because you want something, then you get to realize that it's not as sweet as you think it was.
I'm putting myself in their shoes, right? There is a law. The law has produced regulations. Regulations has produced license criteria. Their job is to enforce the license criteria. Yes, they might do reform, which they have done over the years. But today, how many fintech PSPs do we have? 40 something, right? How did those 40 get a license? They did the same thing. So why only you? They should change the rules. Sometimes when you're not sure what to do, you consider, going to do a master's. When you don't know what to do in life, school becomes an option, right?
Hello everyone, welcome to Building Bytes, where we tell relevant stories about Ghana's tech ecosystem to fuel innovation and drive the growth of our digital economy. This is a show proudly brought to you with production support from Hapital Academy and shot in the Hapital Academy studios. Today, we are hosting Kwadwo Owusu-Agyeman, former country lead at Paystack and also co-founder of Moonshot Venture Partners. We are going to learn about his journey, how he rose to the ranks from investment banking to leading one of Africa's most loved payment companies, and what's more to learn about his journey as a fintech leader. Before we do that, we'll learn about what happened in tech. Caleb will take us through it.
Yeah, so what happened in tech? What happened in tech this week? Japanese businesses aim to invest $100 million into agri-tech AI in Ghana. And this came out of the recent interactions the government of Ghana had with the Japanese ecosystem in their recent visit. So we are looking forward to see how this development can build the nation, support especially smallholder farmers to increase their use and make more money, which is the ultimate goal of it. Any input, any thoughts? Japan.
When I see agri-tech and AI combined, it's not that I get worried. But that's just my comments. I mean, in terms of local context.
Is it from our previous conversations? That's why.
Also, I think maybe from the previous conversations we've had with people on the grounds. I'll just leave it.
Okay.
I think, I think I also get, agri-tech in general is sometimes a lot of, hype. But I think with this, what they are trying to do is precision farming and crop monitoring. So I've seen examples where it works, sometimes it's just looking at how the crops are dispersed. Are they properly dispersed or they're too dense together? From above, they could locate, is there a disease spreading here based on the color of the leaves or something? So I think it's quite practical. It works. It's not just, hype to get money, but I think they said they've run some trial that have worked properly. I think there are other players in the industry that do something similar. So I think it's a good step. They're inviting more. I don't know if this generally works for smallholder farmers. Mostly they do it for plantation and large farms.
Scale.
So we'd see how probably it could trigger out to smallholder farmers.
Could you anything?
I think similar sentiments. I think the specific verticals they're talking about, precision farming, makes it more practical than the broad agri-tech use cases that we've seen. Because I don't think some of them are good ideas, but they're not venture backable type of businesses, right? So maybe this will be one that goes against the grain.
All right. So we are looking to see what the Japanese businesses do with agri-tech and AI in Ghana. Awesome. The next news item is that TikTok launches TikTok for artists in Ghana. And says TikTok has rolled out TikTok for artists in Ghana, where an all-in-one insights and campaign hub that helps musicians and their teams track song performance, understand audiences, and run pre-release promotional activities. Yeah, there's an interesting one, knowing that TikTok has been like, and now like a breaking ground for creative works or creative content. What do you have to say about it? Maybe you could do it first.
No, I think the creator economy is probably the biggest opportunity going forward for the next maybe 2-3 decades. The continent has the youngest population in the world, right? So it's a low hanging fruit industry in that all you need is a smartphone and internet, and you can participate, you can earn, right? So this is a good chance for people to build their craft in the creator ecosystem and then monetize.
Puga.
Yeah, I think it's a good news. See how creators can take advantage of it. I don't know if they were making money before, but if this, has been launched and they can make, some revenue off TikTok, it's a good thing for them. They should, leverage it. Hope the money is, a lot of money because, even on streaming platform, they complain about not making much. So hopefully there'll be much more money on, this one.
Yeah, anything to add on?
I think for me, I like the fact that we probably now the musicians get to see the data behind the numbers.
Yeah.
So that's not all sentiment, but
Yeah.
I mean, you are making a lot more data-informed decisions as well. So I think it's a good thing.
That's awesome. So, and the final news item in what happened in tech, UPSC and Hallmark Research Labs. In fact, UPSC is University of Professional Studies, Accra, and Hallmark Research Labs signs $240 million memorandum of understanding for artificial intelligence lab. So, in this news item, UPSC is planning to build an AI lab on campus. We don't have all the full details, whether it's into students' activities or the university activities or to even external bodies. But what do you think about this, especially seeing like this kind of vision for our academic institutions? Yeah, Puga, you can take this.
I think it's a good initiative. I'm looking forward to see how it will actually roll out. If we just be consuming, other foundational model, or we'll be doing more research into our own foundational models, feeding data into AI that's, specific towards us, in terms of language, in terms of culture, and, the context that we have in Africa. So I'm looking forward to see how it roll out, and hopefully to be beneficial to us, not just, consuming some foundational models and just saying we are doing AI.
Yeah, just to add context to it's claimed that the goal is to tackle job opportunities and all that. So they are aiming over the course of 10 years to make sure out of this lab, they can help Ghanaians tackle some of the job changes.
Are they going to label data and stuff like that?
Yeah, yet to see. Yet to see. I think it's a
Hopefully they do much more than data
and
labeling.
it's an initiative supported by the government too. So it has a government backing. Anything could you want to say on this before we move?
No, I think the universities are a key part of the AI revolution, right? If you look at even how it started, when deep learning, machine learning took off, it was the big universities in the West, right? And if you look at the AI startups, it's full of professors, students that dropped out, they were doing, right? So we too need our professors, our students, really researching how to put that in our context and start solving problems.
Yeah, awesome. So this will be it in what happened in tech. So you take this week in AI.
Okay, so this week in AI, we're looking at 3 stories. The first one is Google's AI mode. It's now available for anyone in Ghana. So if you want to use the AI mode, now you can go on Google, the Google search, the first button on your
Left,
search
yeah.
on your left,
Yeah.
and then you can search and then you can get into the AI mode. So you don't have to wait for Perplexity's commit, get access to it, and then start using it. The next story is Google also released a new image generation platform called Nano Banana.
Yeah, Nano Banana.
Nano Banana. I mean, it's crazy if you look at what it does. Let's say the thumbnail of this video will use that AI platform to like create a lot more effect onto the picture as well. I think that's all for this week in AI. So we'll move straight into the main conversation. So before we get started, I would love for Kwadwo to briefly introduce himself, and then we kick the conversation going.
Okay, so first of all, happy to be here.
Thank you.
To introduce myself, okay. So my name is Kwadwo Owusu-Agyeman. I work in tech. That's how I would describe myself. But I'm a product person. If you ask me to describe myself, I'm a product person, but I'm a commercial-minded product person in the sense that I like to solve problems. I like building things, but I also want to make money while doing that, right? So I used to like tech for tech's sake, like all these wonderful new things, but as I've evolved my career, I've really become more commercial minded as a product person. I hope that is that enough for
that works.
We'll dive deeper.
That works.
We'll dive deeper.
Yeah.
So I think before this conversation, I mean, I've tried to read a number of your articles that you read when you're an investment banker, when you were doing your masters and stuff like that. But we want to like get to know you well before you got to that stage. So how was growing up like? Where did you grow up? And how stuff like that?
I mean, I grew up in Accra. Went to school. All my education was in Accra. Primary school, secondary school. I went to Achimota school. But I was one of those tech kids, right? So very early, I knew that I would work in tech. I didn't know where, how, but I knew that I would work in tech, right? So by the time I was finished at Achimota High School, I knew I was going to do engineering, right? And the only engineering that I was interested in was computer engineering.
Okay.
So that's what I went to do in the university. And I was one of those people who, when it came to coding, that's why I'll get my A in university, right?
Yeah.
Because that came naturally to me and I didn't have to, stress too much, right? So I knew very well that, okay, this is what I want to do with my life, something to do with computers, coding. But at the same time, so I like business, right? So we're making some coins here and there on the side, doing website for people at the time. So it was like, so you can actually build things that people pay you, right? So, and at the same time as well, I have two cousins who really are people that I used to look up to, and they were all investment bankers, right? So they are both 15 years older than I am.
Wow.
So when I was in uni, they were investment bankers. One of them was on Wall Street, and I just used to look at the life he lived. I'd be like, this is what I want to be. Like, very, swashbuckling, well dressed, living in a big city. He's living well, a nice apartment, nice car. So I'm like, I can see
what you want.
Yeah. So investment banking came on my mind. So I started researching what it's about. How do you become an investment banker? It was still far-fetched. A little bit. So while I was doing engineering school, I was trying to do investment banking internships. I was searching for internships. Wow. I was doing my undergraduate. Ultimately, I finished uni, and the interesting thing is, so I finished uni, and me and three of my mates, right, we decided that we will not go and work. We will stay at home. So for people who don't understand Pidgin, at least how we used to say back then, we say, I go tap house, right? So we started a company called Tap House Solutions. This is 2014 or 15.
Wow.
Yeah, we no go job, we go tap house.
Tap House
we
Solutions.
go code, then make money, right? So our plan was, okay, we all were offered to be teaching assistants in the year after uni. So we're like, okay, let's do that, and then we'll have time to build our stuff. But at the same time, I got an offer from an investment bank.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for.
Finally.
So I was the one who didn't tap house in the end. So I was like, okay, we're four, the three of you, but I can, Yeah, so we started that company. We're trying to build stuff here and there. And I'm sure as we go, you see how that connects to other things that I did further on. But I started working in an investment bank headquartered in Accra. I went there as a software engineer, right? So they looked at my profile and you're a computer engineer, they put me in the tech team, right? So how it works is, so all of those who come in are first year analysts, right? So you're your first year in the bank. Most of them are in investment banking or global markets, trading, wealth management. But I'm a tech guy, so they put me in the tech team, which wasn't bad, right? But so at the time, ADB was preparing to do the IPO, right? So the company I was working for was the lead for listing ADB on the stock market, Ghana Stock Exchange. That was going to be our biggest IPO by valuation, Ghana Stock Exchange history. So I was on a team that was building a back office software, right? So there were 24 brokers or broker dealing companies in Ghana, right, at the time. And being the lead means you are the one who's trying to sell the shares to people, but you have to involve the others, right? So we had a system that they were using. So we had to connect all the 24 brokers on that system. So if you are a client of broker A, you don't have to come to us. You can go there. When they buy the shares there, they put in the system, and we can collate everything for the clients, right? So that's how they were doing it. So that was my first exposure into fintech, right? Because we're building a platform that was selling shares across 24 brokers and all ADB branches, which was
massive.
I think 80 plus branches across, if not more, across the country, right? So the plan was you should walk into any ADB branch or any broker in Ghana, you should be able to buy ADB shares, right? It was a government bank that was being listed.
And for those who probably don't know ADB is Agricultural Development Bank. Bank,
Green logo.
Agri Development Bank. So, so I was a developer. I lasted like 6 months, and I knew that I don't want to code for a living. Right? I'm a tech guy, always be a tech guy, but I don't want to code. I just can't sit down and code, and that's what I do. I was more interested in what they were doing on the other side. Right? These guys are crunching numbers, they're doing deals, they're doing M&A, mergers and acquisitions. So I was like, tapping with those guys. I was like, I can code already. I understand what I'm doing here. I want to learn something new. So I managed to transition to the other side. I became an investment banking analyst. So
how was the transition?
It was probably at the time, probably the hardest thing I'd been through, because imagine more than 10 years ago, a tech guy, they will call you IT guy, wants to do finance. It's like, why is the IT guy here, right? But there were some directors in the company who I made friends with, and if they feel like you're a young, intelligent guy, so they saw that, okay, maybe. And the truth is, all the other first-year analysts had just finished university, just like me. Yes, they're finance majors and whatnot, but they don't have any, experience that you don't have. So it was about demonstrating interest. And of course, they interview you as if they don't know you. So I had to build a financial model, do valuation, pitch deck, and come and prove that, right, you can actually do the work to some extent, right? So luckily, they agreed that, I can join the team. And they actually needed more people on that side. So it was a good timing for me. To this day, one of those directors is one of my long-term mentors. And when I switched over there, it was like a whole new world. Like they use terminology you never heard. Things are moving. Companies are trying to raise money. We're advising them. You have M&A deals that are live. In the sense that like the deal is ongoing. It's not at the origination stage. Meetings here and there, going to clients. So you can't be seen as you don't know what you're doing.
Not at all.
So in the night, you are learning Investopedia. You're trying your hands. Wall Street, what's it called? Wall Street Oasis. And all. They're doing all those courses because you need to catch up with your mates, right? And then the day you're working. But eventually, I think I found some balance. There were also some good, senior analysts, associates, directors who would give you guidance. So they helped make that transition smooth for me. Awesome.
So, at what point did Enscript come in?
So I think I did investment banking for a few years at that company. The next thing we did was MTN wanted to IPO, MTN Ghana, right? So MTN Ghana being the largest telecom company in Ghana was a big deal.
Was it 2018, 2019?
So we started working on that in 2015.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was linked to the 4G. Now this is public information, so it was linked to the 4G license. At the time, the license required the license was only for Ghanaian companies. Then it became you have to be some percentage Ghanaian shareholding before you can get a 4G license. MTN had grown to the point where they knew the next wave of growth was latching onto 4G, right? So they had to sell part of the company, right, to Ghanaian shareholders. So that's the initial public offering. Now, quote unquote, probably Ghana's biggest company is doing an initial public. It was a big deal at the time. At the same time, they're trying to protect their value. So our job was, to make sure we can offload this amount of stock to local shareholders so that we can obtain the 4G license. So we started a whole journey where, we're trying to, find investors who are Ghanaian, right? So institutions, the valuation is quite big. I mentioned ADB was the biggest IPO. MTN took it to a different level, right? So MTN2 became, and I think it's still the biggest IPO. So my luck was I was able to touch two of the biggest.
Two of the biggest.
So those things actually were learnings for me that I think were some of the foundational experiences. Now the reason I'm mentioning this MTN IPO is because I'd transitioned from tech to doing finance, right? So when I wake up, I'm doing Excel, I'm doing pitch decks, I'm doing valuation. And in working with MTN had a goal that they have at the time I think it's 8 or 6 million, can't remember, mobile money subscribers.
Okay.
They had way more
voice
subscribers, right? So they're like, this is a company that's sticky with Ghanaians.
Yeah.
We have to be able to allow them to buy the shares,
Yeah.
or at least give them the access buy the shares. So part of our job was how do we connect the stock market to mobile money, right? So that was another fintech
space
experience.
Yeah.
And I think that was where I figured out, okay, this is what I want to do. I don't want to be a coder. I don't want to be a finance guy. But there's some missing middle in between that. It's perfect for me because I get to do the two things I have interesting without being too far off on each end. So we were working with the MTN team, with our own team, and we're able to deliver. I think to this day, or rather no, MTN Ghana was the world's first ever mobile money based initial public offering. Like, it hasn't happened anywhere in the world where they're listing shares and it's being sold on mobile money wallets. Wow. So that's how I figured out what I wanted to do. Once I figured out that I don't want to do finance.
Engineering,
exactly.
Finance.
I don't want to code now. I don't want to. So at the time, I mentioned my cousins who are investment bankers. He was about to set up his own investment bank. Right, I'd done this for a few years, but he knew that I wanted to do tech.
Yes,
right? And at the time, I'd seen all everything's paper, it's email. There's a lot of digitization we can do. So we had plans to build stuff, but at the end of the day, we had to leverage our investment banking expertise to get revenue, to fund our tech dreams. Right. So we started our own small investment banking shop. We're doing small ticket deals to get revenue, and then we started Enscript. Right, to build pure tech for financial markets. Right. So at Enscript, we built City Manager, which also was probably the first retail trading platform, if you will.
But which year was that?
So City Manager came live in 2019, I believe.
Okay.
I think 2019. But we had been building, we had been doing SEC presentations, trying to get approval. Those things take a while. Take a while to be approved, right? So the dates are but I think around 2019 or 2020 is when City Manager went live, I believe. So we built that. We built so many other things as well because we looked at so many things. We're like, this can be digitized, that can be digitized. So that's what brought me to Enscript.
Okay, so thinking of it, maybe I don't have an engineering question, neither do I have a finance question, neither is it also a fintech question. So
what question is it?
In the midst of this transition, like thinking you probably like engineering, and you got to realize that's not the kind of engineer you want to be, then you get to financial, you realize that's not the kind of thing you want to be. How did they feel transitioning in all these things? Because you want something, then you get to realize that it's not as sweet as you think it was. How did they feel? For you was the mindset, the thinking process through all this?
To be honest, it didn't feel like that because it was what I wanted at that time. Right. So I wanted to do investment banking because I had been reading about it since uni. I had a sense of what the markets were doing. You were following, these Dow, Nasdaq. And so in that space, that was what I wanted to do. After doing it for a few years, you kind of know whether or not it's time to move on or do something else. Or some people fall in love and do that for the rest of their life. Right. But I've always taken it like, why not? I need to take a stab at what I'm interested in, and if I end up wanting a change, I want to change. It's a very unorthodox career path because at every point in time, people if you ask people advice, they will say, no, stay here, but I know how I felt when I was coding. I'm like, this thing I once thought I would do for the rest of my life, I don't want to do. Right? It doesn't mean I'm not performing my duty, but I just know that this is not a skill I should be honing at this time. Right.
Also.
Okay. So you go into Enscript, and after that, I hope when did expanding Paystack get into the picture?
So we co-founded Enscript to build all these apps. At the same time, we were running the investment bank, and that was doing pretty well. Today is still doing pretty well. City Manager 2 is growing pretty well. But I was doing maybe 70% investment banking and 30% tech, fintech stuff, right? So at some point, I was like, okay, my products appetite had
It's peaked.
and I'm somebody who has been tracking tech across the continent.
Wow.
This company went to IC in 2017. This was the first African. So I'm like, this, there are things happening, right? So I was like, okay, it's either I try and maybe go and build something else, or sometimes when you're not sure what to do, you consider, going to do a master.
Yeah.
When you don't know what to do in life, school becomes an option, right?
I try and say that like people do masters now, they're in that situation.
No, I mean like it's a good path. It's a good path because it opens connections, puts you in a focused learning, in a particular concentration. So, and investment banking, maybe majority people have an MBA, right? So, when I was doing investment banking, it was a no-brainer that at some point I have to get an MBA.
Yeah.
Everybody you meet, all the big people in investment banking, MBA, all my directors, MBA. So I thought that there's no way I can make it without an MBA, right? So I was actually going to do my MBA, and then COVID slowed it down. So it bought me another year because I didn't even think I was ready to go at the time.
Okay.
So 2021, I was about to go again, and I think so Paystack got acquired at the tail end of 2020. Yeah. Right. But prior to that, Paystack came to Ghana in 2018 or 19. They just raised Series A. And then they did their company offsite in Ghana. Right. So as part of that, they were meeting ecosystem people. Yeah. So we're building CD Manager at the time, and it's an investment app. We were like, okay, we need a payment provider to be able to do recurring payments, because we're like, we need to the core app has to be set it and forget it. If I invest in 1,000 CDs, I link my card, right? So we're looking for somebody who was able to do that. And one of the banks introduced Paystack to me because they had gone to meet banks. Okay, and they're like, oh, these guys came, right? So that's the first time I met them. We had a call, we spoke about what we want, but they were not ready. Right? They too were trying to learn from Ghanaian founders, from other stuff. So 2020 after acquisition, right, their mandate was the one to expand. Yeah. Right. So we were recruiting for expansion for Ghana, and that's how I got in there in 2021. So at that point, it's either I do Paystack or I go to school. Yeah. Right. And real life over school all day. So that's how I transitioned to the Paystack job. Yeah.
How was it like?
You mean the process, or
how was it like expanding?
What was like your mandates?
So I mean, acquisition by Stripe. Next phase is we need to take the business out. They had done a lot of groundwork, like I said. They had come to Ghana in 2018. At the time, there was no licensing. It was still in the works.
There was no payments.
Exactly. PSP licensing exists. It was now being developed. So they had tried to start, groundwork operations. The IPC said, come and deposit this money. This one. And expanding to Ghana is not easy, right? Both from a regulatory standpoint and from even from a product, more important from a product standpoint, right? You have to understand the market, consumer behavior. So my job was, okay, we've laid the groundwork. We're in the Ghana process. They've issued licenses to a lot of local companies. When are we going to get our license? Right? We've been tasting for a while. So when I joined, it was like, okay, we need to figure out partnerships, products, who are users, tests here and there, but also more importantly, we need to get a license, right? So working on those things simultaneously. And then I think 2022 February is when we got our full PSP license.
Interesting. But it's not surprising that like you got to lead Paystack, because Paystack has this like typical Paystack leader definitely has some technical background. Then whatever space they get to be in, they get to add on. So did it feel like a perfect fit match for you, and how did it feel for the team for you coming in?
For me personally, it felt a perfect fit, right? Because I had already known that fintech is what I want to do. And I've always, because of the way I move around and I've sort of built a generalist skill set, right? I can do financial models small, I understand commercial small, I can, understand, algorithms, data structures. And so I had sort of, there are a lot of people who are super technical on the programming or tech side.
Yeah.
Other people who are super technical on the finance side, right?
Yeah.
And there's not many people, at least at the time,
Yeah.
had
everything
a
together.
bit of both.
Yeah.
So I knew that was my strength, and it was evident because I was getting a lot of opportunities from right before Paystack. There was another fintech company, also from Nigeria, one of the popular ones that also wanted me to do the same role.
Okay.
They had already started expanding.
Okay.
In the end, they rolled it back, so today they're not in Ghana. But so I knew that it looks like this skill set is rare today.
Yeah.
So I need to
Make
capitalize on it. Yeah. So joining Paystack, for me, it felt like a great fit. And it's a place to learn, like surprisingly. It's a place where you can just do your own best work. A lot of people came in, in one role, transitioning to another, which is kind of my vibe, right?
Yeah,
So you see that there's freedom of mobility to find your own space and do your best work, right? So that's one of the first things I noticed. But me, my mandate is very clear, right? So I'm a product manager, being hired. But in the company, at least at the time, the structure was you have different product managers. So cards product has a product manager.
Okay.
Maybe onboarding and compliance. So when you're signing up, the steps as a product manager.
Yeah.
But my products, I used to look at my products as a country.
Yeah.
Right? So we have cards in the country.
Yeah.
We have Momo in the country. We have onboarding in the country.
Yeah.
Right? So it's more nuanced. It's more wide than deep.
Yeah.
In the sense that if I was doing cards only, I'm really going to go deep
Yeah.
into. But this one today, I'm doing compliance.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we have to tweak the onboarding.
Yeah.
I need to do a bit of partnerships. You might do those things in the other ones, but I always felt that it was a good fit for me as a generalist, right, than a technical PM, which is maybe other people's skill sets.
So after getting the license, I mean, you've already done the groundwork. What happened next? How is it?
Yeah, no, I won't say it was easy, but expansion expansion and localization are very hand in hand, right? And it's one of the things that we know.
Yeah.
You say it's expanding. You have to, but you don't know until you actually
touch the
you
ground.
don't know how deep you have to go. Right? The consumers are very similar. Nigeria and Ghana is 45 minutes apart.
Yeah.
Right? We all speak English.
Yeah.
So it feels like, but it's very different. Like, yes, everybody wants to put their business online, but how they want it, how their customers behave is very different. Right. So it's one of the things that we had to unpack. And I think the company had gone through that cycle where they were building for Nigeria and they had to become a global or at least a Africa-wide company.
Yeah.
So you have to start, building at scale, right? So for example, maybe in 2017, checkout was checkout, right? You know we're in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you want to go to Cote d'Ivoire, right? You need French.
Yeah.
Checkout.
Yeah.
But you didn't build it in a way that
You
can
could
just
tweak.
add French
Yeah.
and everything converts.
Yeah.
So you have to go back and modularize all those things.
Yeah.
But it helps because now, it's not only French. Like all the other aspects, you need to modularize them so that if tomorrow you want to go to Djibouti, right, you can just like pick components and then it's easy for. So that was a lot of the work that was being done in 2021, 2022. Right, and a lot we did a lot of, or I did a lot of talking to developers, talking to founders, talking to people. Sometimes it's just to learn, right? Because the industries are different. For example, when I joined Paystack, the big industries that were using online payments, financial services, right? So investing apps, of which I was building one before. So I at the time, if you asked me what's my prediction for what's going to blow, is investment apps, right? Because when I was working in investment banking, even though it was more M&A and financial advisory, we had a retail arm, and Ghana's population was maybe 24, 25 million.
Yeah.
If you check the investment accounts, like collective investment schemes, that's the easiest investment account. It was like 250. That's 300,000, right? So it's like 1%, not more than 2% of people in Ghana were holding investment accounts. So I'm like, this doesn't make sense. But everybody was asking me, how do I invest? Right. So I'm like, people want to invest.
Yeah.
But there's only 2% of people who have investment account.
Yeah.
There's something about to blow here, but I don't think it has quite transpired
To that.
quickly. But in Nigeria, it's the opposite, right? So when I got to Paystack, I thought that this thing that I thought would blow we need to focus on it because obviously Nigeria is similar to Ghana.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been the case.
Yeah.
Right? It turns out that was not what was the top thing to follow. But you only learn by talking to people and realizing that Ghanaian investment industry was more traditional.
Yeah.
Right. People want to go into
the shop or the branch.
Exactly.
Or the
And
broker.
they're just not ready. Maybe today we're seeing more because there are more apps.
Yeah.
But Nigeria was doing this in 2018, 17.
Wow.
Same for digital lending, big industry in Nigeria. So I also assumed that, we need to make IPRs available to.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Right? So we had to really, really, really go into different industries. What are people actually building? Right. So what industries are ready to use payment APIs at scale?
Yeah.
And that's how we found, what's important to us as a Ghana business, what we should focus on. Obviously we also validated things that we knew were true. Mobile money is king, right? We're like, mobile money is more used, but maybe is it because card APIs are not widely available?
Okay.
So we were like, let's put it available and see uptick. Uptick is good, but still mobile money was king.
Yeah.
And we also realized that there are some sub-segments that we can win. For example, we're like, okay, international payments, right? So diaspora people selling outside, maybe that's something that we're already good at.
Yeah.
Right. So it's an easy, not an easy win, but a simple win. Those
Simple,
two
yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
Two different things. So we're like, okay, that's what led us to do Apple Pay because we had a bunch of people who were trying to pay internationally. And we was heading to the December season. We're like, actually, these people come in.
Yeah.
They don't carry physical cards anymore. Right, they use their phone or their, Apple Pay on their scan to pay.
Yeah.
Right, so if they came to a Paystack person or even anybody and they didn't have their physical card, they don't have mobile money.
It's lost.
There's a lost sale.
Yeah.
Right, so we just put something together. We quickly shipped it, and the results were actually staggering. We've seen churches, people giving offering with Apple Pay.
With Apple Pay,
Exactly,
wow.
Yeah, the use cases were just like diverse, right? So, these are some of the things that we were building in 2022. Yeah.
I'd like to step a little bit back to getting the license. I mean, it's getting license in Ghana is quite difficult as fintech, and especially as a foreign company. How's it like for you? What was the challenges? And based on your experience in other markets, Bank of Ghana might be listening. What would be some recommendation you think would to make the lives of local fintechs and even foreign ones easier and be able, make business easier to set up?
And I get this question all the time. I always say Bank of Ghana experience has been amazing for us.
Oh,
like,
are you afraid?
Wow. No, for real.
Blink
like, and I've said this. I've said this a few times, and people think that because they're no longer my regulator, right? But for us, it's been encouraging because, and I think it's a timing thing. The time we came, we're really pushing the industry.
Yeah.
The access to them is very, they're very accessible.
Yeah.
Right. Before I joined, that was the feedback they had because they're like, we just came together. We don't know anybody. For in 2-3 days, we are in the office of the Fintech director or in this one policy head. It doesn't work like that elsewhere, right? So our experience has been smooth, and I think getting a license is about being ready to get a license, right? Because the regulator is also doing his job of protecting
users or consumers.
It's like you don't have ISO 27001, you don't have PCI DSS. So how can he
give you the license?
Right.
Also, people ask, do they need that?
That's a good question.
That's fair, but I'm putting myself in their shoes. Right. There is a law. The law has produced regulations. Regulations has produced license criteria. Their job is to enforce the license criteria. Yes, they might do reform, which they have done over the years. But today, how many fintech PSPs do we have? 40 something. Right. How did those 40 get a license? They did the same thing. So why only you? They should change the rules for you. Right. So
only you.
So I feel like yes, it's true that is not easy, but it's supposed to be hard. Stranger, not hard. It's supposed to be in depth. Right. Because you and I understand the
challenges,
nuances of financial services.
Very sensitive.
It's very sensitive. Like you hear elsewhere, this hotel's data has leaked.
Yes.
And have you ever thought about where the data is? And that's maybe like a huge $1 billion valuation hotel.
Yeah.
Now bring that back to if I was just a guy in my room with an idea, I want a fintech license. I don't have the right processes to safeguard. Those who even have it, look at what's happening.
Still,
Right?
can
So
be hacked and all that.
I understand both sides because I look at it as a balance, and I just don't think it is impossible, and I don't think it is harder than anywhere else to get a license. Yeah.
But in spite of that, I mean, or in a bundle with all those experiences, what has your experience leading a product, like a fintech product, taught about the Ghanaian market? Because definitely Paystack had significant success in Nigeria before coming here. And I'm sure there was that momentum that, it's a good market, so I'm going to do it here. But did the market show you something?
No, of course. I think the market will reject what it doesn't want. You can't force, even if you are innovative and it's nice and shiny, you can't force it. And some people have seen that in many ways. We've done expansion. There's a way to do it, quick experiments, because every expansion is an investment, right? So let's say you are big in Ghana and you are growing a fintech. You are big, you got market share, now you want to go to, I don't know, Tanzania. It's either you're going to invest a few millions in that Tanzania expansion, either you keep that money, buy treasuries and make your percentage, or you spend that money there. Now, if you spend the money there, it doesn't work, you've wasted the money and the time, right? So it's a very time-sensitive thing that you need to start seeing some results. Like you need to measure and see what you are really learning or iterating on. Otherwise, you probably realize you've done 2 years and
nothing.
You shut it down, right? Which sometimes is not a bad outcome because you have to cut it at some point. Maybe the timing doesn't work. That's also another thing. Timing is important. Some people were too early, right? Some people are too late. So sometimes you might miss the timing, and that means you have to change your strategy or go somewhere else, right? So I think we were fortunate enough to get the timing right. The market's tough, as you know, or was tough, and it's still tough. There are a lot of fintechs, a lot of good companies I actually respect. I told you I use some of them on a daily basis. But it's also, a lot of people say it's saturated. There's ABC Pay, DGD Pay, right? Which is true, but it doesn't mean that there's no opportunity. Otherwise, we would not have come here. We would not have come here. But we found our niche through really, really focusing on the customer. We know our superpower is product and engineering and innovation. That's what Paystack is really good at. That's the top thing we can do. Right. So we had to translate that here. And if you see us tapping with the developer community, it's because we know that those are the people that integrate APIs. Right. So if they think your APIs are good, they'll recommend it to their boss. Or if they are the CTO, right? So we just really focused on tweaking the APIs, making them developer friendly, the documents easy to use. Paystack used to be, you can start collecting payments with 2 lines of code, right? So with the other ones, even before you get the APIs, you have to email somebody, fill a form, pay a fee, right? So that's how we broke in. Onboarding, we're like, nobody wants to wait for forms. Make the onboarding online, so that if I wake up at 11 p.m., sign up on Paystack, onboard, start integrating, I can collect payments, then I don't have to call anyone, right? So we really pushed those things, and those are some of the things that differentiated us early on.
Okay, let me come in with a question. So I think you mentioned about the market being saturated. I want to link it to my earlier question. Do you think it's diverse enough or innovative enough? And do you think is the possible cause? Is it like, do we have a higher barrier of entry for, smaller company who could be much more innovative as compared to other markets like Nigeria? Is there a lower barrier entry? Is it diverse enough or innovative enough?
I don't know if there's a straight answer for that, but Nigeria is, just by sheer volumes, bigger markets, which makes it maybe harder, right? So you can't really say the market is big, so it's hard, or the market is too small, so it's hard. Both are different challenges. Ghana is a small market. There are a lot of companies saturated, so it's hard to break in. Nigeria is a bigger market, higher volumes, but also big players, so it's hard to break in. But in terms of innovation here, I think, yes, maybe some people have, some people, there'll always be copycats, right? This is trending, so let's also start a payment company. But there are people who had niches that they were focused on. Like maybe they had a hold on this industry, so we're like, okay, this will be our core industry. We'll focus here and make revenue. So you see it as yet another payment company. Why? But he knows why.
Yeah.
And where he's getting his revenue from. There are a lot of companies in Ghana like that. Theirs is cash to mobile money. That's their expertise. Somebody's one is betting. That's expertise. And it's that there are generalist ones, of course, the big ones. But I think if you are nimble and innovative enough, you find your niche, and that's not a bad place to be.
Yeah. I don't know whether I want to move it out, but if I could come in.
Okay, sure.
What were your first, like, maybe 3, or probably my goal is just to find out industries that were receptive, because I know definitely financial system would be a major one, because they're already in the pipeline, they can safeguard and all that. But others will probably, it will cost them a lot to allow you into the ecosystem. But what industries were like really receptive in some of these cases?
So I mean, early on, it was very diverse, and I think some of it was we discovered. Some of it we were intentional about going after those industries, but some of it came organically as we made our services known. But we found that e-commerce is big, right? And it's not the e-commerce that we think of, Amazon buying, generalist stuff. But we found that there are a lot of beauty products, people selling things online. Right? That I didn't know of, right? But if you look at where their customers, they buy frequently, right? Hair, makeup, beauty, and those people most likely will sell on a website. So making our APIs easy for whichever, if they develop themselves, they use a developer to plug in Paystack as the payment provider on their Shopify or their whatever, was what we needed to do to win that ecosystem. So I didn't have to market to beauty industry or to these small to medium e-commerce people. It was by virtue of knowing that our APIs need to be the easiest to configure, right, for e-commerce, and the developer will do it for us, right? So that's how we cultivated that industry. Others, let me think, financial services, but I think it's grew in the last maybe year and a half, right? So even though early on we thought it would be, we didn't quite see a lot of traction. We had maybe a few here and there who were doing transactions online, but even when we talked to them, we realized that this is like 6% of their monthly volumes that are being online. People are still sending cash checks. And we're like, maybe it's the demographic that invests that is not digital, right? Our generation below doesn't really invest, right? So as we've started shifting there is when we've seen, likes of Petra investing in the Achieve app, right? And our Achieve has broadened to young people.
ITC with Chango.
Exactly. So, and because we were an infrastructure player, right? We are not going to launch our own maybe crowdfunding or investment. No, we're a platform where somebody will build his own on top of us.
And sorry, I didn't plan this one. Also, I don't know whether there's a Paystack roots philosophy or ideology, or it's maybe market ideology. It's interesting most of the time when I'm thinking of go to market, especially in a payment thing, you will not automatically think of developers, even though they'll be the ones to build it. I know can you share how they came by this idea?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I learned when I went there, that every business has its direct stakeholders, right? And sometimes it's those are your stakeholders, but it's not obvious. Right? We are a merchant acquiring platform, so of course merchants are direct stakeholders, but we're a technology company. It's not the merchants most of the time who will integrate the APIs, right? We have no code tools, but really, 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 most of our volumes come from the APIs, right? So we realized early on that, and I think, well, your question was where did it come from? I think it came from the founders themselves being engineers, right? So they were working in Fintech before Fintech was called Fintech, and getting APIs from those big guys back in the day was, banks were paying for all these suites of APIs and they were not using them. So they were contractors. They would see they have all of these MasterCard, this, that. They're not really using it. So they stumbled upon the fact that I can just do this, press this button, I can charge a card, right? And they use that to create a business. They're like, okay, you can charge a card from your laptop as a random guy, right? Who wants this? This might be a business. And then it became, okay, how do we put this in another person's hand, like me, so that they can just set it up. So I think it came from the founders themselves being engineers. So they themselves will be a customer of their own product, right? And their direct, network of engineers. I went to engineering school. I got my classmates who are also what kind of APIs do you use? What will be easy for you?
That's interesting.
That's great. That's great. So these days you do a lot more than just operating. You are backing companies as well. You can briefly talk about that.
Sorry. I actually don't call myself an investor. But my journey has been dipping my toes in tech, focus, listening to what's happening in and around. One of the things that I was, privy to was how things were moving. So I was working in investment banking. So it's what we're doing was sell side in the sense that we're helping companies, helping sell companies. The investors are on the buy side. Right? I had friends on the buy side, private equity, venture capital. And as we're hearing, this one has raised 2 million, this one has raised 1 million in 2016, 17, I knew something was happening, right? But every time we hear there's an up round or an exit, is foreigners on the cap table or majority foreigners. But I'm like, when you hear, I'll talk to the people, how much did this guy invest? Oh, maybe the minimum ticket size was 100K. Sometimes you hear 50K. Sometimes you hear, it was pre-seed, so 30K. I don't have 30K. But I really like what this guy is doing. So one day we were like, why can't I don't have 30K. But if I call Yao, maybe he has 5K. If I call this one, he has 1K. We can
bring together,
get 30K together. And being in investment banking and progressing, I left early, but there were people who have risen to VP, director in Goldman Sachs and whatnot. So they sort of trusted my, knowledge of tech in Africa. And the others were actually invested for a living, right? So me and 3 others, all of whom are investment professionals on the private equity side, we decided to, let's start this thing. Now we know that the 4 of us cannot raise the full 50K or 30K. So we called our friends who were in those spaces, because over the years they'll say article will send it to you. They say article will send it to you. Is this happening? But most of them are living in the diaspora. Right. So I knew that they are keeping tabs and they might be interested. So we shopped it around. They're like, I can allocate every year,
amount,
right? So we're like, why not? And then we tried it, with our first investment. Now, the interesting thing is, there's a reason why I don't call myself an investor. We don't want to open it up to everybody.
Okay.
This is a very small, it's literally the 4 of us and the friends or people we used to work with, right, who are progressing their careers. And what I always tend to say to them is, imagine that you've taken this money, you've turned on fire, you've put the money in the fire. That's what you're doing by sending this capital. This is not
it's a high risk
interest. But the good thing is they are investment professionals, so they understand the risk. Exactly, it's the highest risk on the risk spectrum. Like if you are doing treasury bills, this one. After casino is
startup investment.
Exactly.
Especially at an early stage
in Africa. Exactly. So I was like, I'm not comfortable taking people's money, so I need you to know that the money's gone. Right? And anything that comes is hallelujah. We weren't expecting it. But again, like I'm very, very, very product focused. So that's how we kind of try, and we're like, okay, we don't have, our checks are small, right, up to 50K. Where do we provide value? Okay, I know product a bit, I know people, these guys understand finance, right? So literally you have free resources. We built financial models for people. We've helped with revenue modeling. We have people who are lawyers, and they give free, at least structuring, reading, like our people just give free. Right, so like they throw their money in, but they're also available as resources. One of our good friends is a CTO of one of the top fintechs. He literally like helps, because it's one thing to do a 300 user startup. You want to get to 3,000. Your infrastructure, you've never done it before. So how do you know how to? So he would chip in like, oh, don't do like this, do like this, because it's cheaper. Hire this person first, have this kind of, and exact. So those kind of things are what helped us, provide more value to the early stage startups than just money.
What are some of the companies that you guys have? If you can mention.
Yeah, sure. So I think our first was Yamachi Biotech. Right.
And we've had him on the podcast before.
Oh wow, okay. Okay. I need to go watch that. And that was the first one we did. Because we know some of the founders pretty well. My partners worked inside and with them to provide some support on the finance side. So we know it pretty well, and we're just impressed with what they're building. Like, it's a global, potential business, but it's it's using an African context, right? So it was easy to sell to our people. So that's the first one we did. And then we've done, so interestingly, that's the only deal we've done in Ghana. We've done, we did one in Senegal, Tanel Health, which, one thing I like to do was go work remote somewhere. Right? Because that's where you meet people, you connect, and we just connected with this founder building a health tech. And he was able to really break down what he's doing. So we actually became cordial. It wasn't about investing, but we're connecting. We go to their angel, Dakar angel meetups, and we met him, go watch basketball together, and then eventually he was raising, and we put something in, and he's doing amazing as well. And then there's so many others. There's Boost, which is doing tries to digitize e-commerce on the B2B side, right? So which that's also doing pretty well. Those are the three that come. But I think we've done 10 deals. 10 deals. Some of them are follow-ons. And interestingly, we did a movie, right? So we had 2 exits so far. One of them was a movie, right? And the movie was interesting because it wasn't something that's in our wheelhouse.
Interesting.
How many X returns did the movie bring?
I can't share that, but it was quite good. It was quite good for something that we didn't think was our interest. We said we are doing tech and tech enabled building for Africa. Right? So I even was not for it because I'm like, this is lack of focus. I'm a focused person, right? But out of the 4 of us, I'm the only one who voted no because it came from the community. Right? They're like, somebody brought it and said, I want to invest in this. But I know we don't do it. But it's just then they bring another person. It's like, oh, I like this director. I mean, I don't know anything about African movies, right? And there was enough people who wanted to do it, so we voted and we did it, and we forgot about it. And then we woke up, and one of the biggest companies in the world came to buy the rights to the movie. Right? Like 2.5 years later, right? So, that being said, we're not expecting a movie investment.
But for those who watch, I think maybe all the 20K, 30K, 100K is talking about is not Ghana cedis, it's not Nigerian naira, it's USD. So just keep it in mind.
So as we wrap up, I have 2 questions. So one is around the investment and the approach you guys are using. I think some markets like Nigeria is almost like a thing. Is it a way that you think local people should be a lot more involved in that approach of investing and backing startups? I mean, do you think that should be the way to go?
I think yes, but I think it's not for every investor. It's not for everybody. Unfortunately, here we don't have a large group that's investing in that asset class. That's early stage.
Yeah.
But I think it should be nurtured in the sense that we need to create opportunities for people to start channeling those who are interested. Right? And right now, I feel like if somebody's interested, they don't know where to go, where to start. Right? And that was what we did in our own small way. We found these 12 people who were interested in doing this thing with us. Right? There are probably more out there, but there are not enough avenues for them to channel their interest.
So my last question before Caleb and Puga comes in. I think before you joined Paystack, or while you were early days in Paystack, you used to write a lot about the ecosystem. And now you are in it, right? And I know like people watching, the developers will be watching now. Most of them are building apps, they are building platforms. For you and all the data you've seen, what do you think would be happening in the market?
Oh, wow.
That people should, should act on wisely.
Or should take it with some pinch of salt, even though you not recommend that. As a financial advice.
If I could see the future, I would have put the money in Nvidia. I think there's two ways to look at it. There's solve a problem that can be commercialized, right? And I mean, it sounds simple, but I think a lot of people are building interesting things, but it's not commercial enough. Or are building commercial things, but it's not interesting enough to scale. So I tell a lot of young people who reach out to me, like, try and think about how is this thing going to really make money for you, whomever is going to, and provide value for whomever is going to use it. But that being said, I mean, we know the hot industries. Luckily for us, there's a lot to be done in Ghana or in Africa, right? A lot of things have been done. Any industry you go to, insurance, there's still a lot of potential. Digital banking, lending, there's still a lot of potential, right? But some of them take some domain knowledge to really understand what to build. Right. So sometimes it's not obvious for you to just wake up and say, I'm building an insurtech. Rather than somebody maybe has worked there for 2 years, 3 years, and understands that this is how to, but I mean, right now everybody is looking at Fintech has been hot. But I think we're entering a new era of Fintech, which is obviously blockchain, stable coins, right? So that will be hotter than even the payments one that we saw. And but I'm sure, I mean, I've seen so many people building, which is exciting. And there'll be more to come. And AI too is, what everybody is saying, but I don't look at AI as an industry, right? It's what are you using the AI to build? Like, what kind of business are you using the AI to build? That's more important.
So I think you've been a builder, you've been an operator, you've been not an investor, but supporting
fake investor.
Supporting startups. What advice would you give to people who sometimes are in some of your crossroads you got yourself into, and they want to maybe from operator move to like an investor, but you check your bank account, it can't take you beyond 6 months. And if anything happens, you have to go back to your employer and beg them. Or maybe an investor, probably on the sidelines, you've been watching things and want to get in. Or maybe you're a developer. You've been building amazing stuff. You've seen it working in other people's company, just that yours doesn't work. You don't know whether it's against you or anything. But with all those experiences, seen some experience, some worked in some, what advice could you give to people in some of these crossroads?
I'll be like, talk to people, talk to users, talk to customers, potential customers, talk to industry people. A lot of people are just building their room because yes, the problem space exists and this is the solution, but the way you're building it's off. You spend 6 months, 1 year building. By the time you come out of your room, market has shifted or you just did the wrong thing. And again, some of these things I said in the beginning, it's obvious. Talk to your users. Expansion is local. But I can't stress how much people don't talk to users. And you'll be surprised that it's not even about use my product. It's about, how is your business? Like, can you just give me 30 minutes? I'll ask some questions. Sometimes it's even a customer acquisition strategy. Right? I've had so many calls. And maybe it's a thing I was fortunate to learn in Paystack because they already built a culture around it. But when you're a product manager, so two things. When you join as a product manager, actually everybody in the company, but more for product managers, you spend your first month or more doing like support. Right? So you're on the support team, you're seeing tickets, you're resolving it because that is where you are facing the customer.
Yeah.
Right. Those are where the problems are.
Come up.
So you spend a month at least solving tickets. So if you're onboarding compliance product manager, you do channel those tickets to you, and you wake up in the morning. That's what you are doing.
Wow.
Right. And I've seen that translate into customer first ideology. Because I don't think I would have been as on it if I didn't go through that rigor. So like that sort of made me understand how important it is and build that empathy for the customer, because you're not building for yourself. Right. Then the second thing is we do calls all the time, and some of them is not even, we don't even, obviously we want you to use Paystack. Yeah. But more importantly, if you don't use Paystack, why? Who are you using? What is the reason why you're stuck there? Is it just company is used to it? Is it just cost of change? Is it the pricing? But you would not know if you don't talk to them. You'll be surprised how many people will give you 30 minutes, no matter how senior they are. And then you'll be like, oh, okay, we're building this thing. Or not even there, like maybe a month later. Send them an email and say, oh, we spoke last month, we built this thing demo, we're interested in sharing. Some people will pick it up, and that can convert into a customer. Right? So I think, you have to talk to people.
Awesome. That's great. So you kept saying when I was at Paystack, I don't know if you want to, I know you didn't discuss this.
Before you come in, I just want to ask a question. I think to follow up with the investment thing that you asked, I think I'm kind of more concerned or interested in, local people investing. I don't know if you've seen HOAQ, the model they use. You mentioned that, you don't like taking people's money, but do you think you'd transition, or we could have a certain, like a similar instrument to help, you said, we need more local investors, but it's not for everybody. But could we have a similar instrument where people who know what they are doing could, channel this? And, there's a lot of money in the country. A lot of them are sitting in, very low yield and investment return. Do you think we can have such an instrument to get more local investments or even diaspora investments into the ecosystem?
No, 100%. And I think there are a few, maybe they're not as, broad and publicized, but there's Accra Angels Network. There's a few angel networks that invite people to join and do angel investments. You mentioned Hoke. The interesting thing is, so when we started MVP Africa, right, Hoke was one of the people we found when we did our research that sort of validated the idea of pulling capital from different people, right? Whilst there's an open network, you can join as a member. Ours is closed, right? Because obviously we don't want to take. But Hoke, so interestingly, when I joined Paystack, the Hoke co-founders were Paystack people, right? And I said something about talking to people. I straight ahead got on a call. Both of them were at Stripe before they were, they moved to Paystack, seconded to Paystack. I'd already spoken to the first one. The second guy too came months later. Within a week, I messaged him to schedule a call just to learn, what Hoke is doing, how they did it, any challenges, because he has seen the problems. Why should I go through the problems when I can collect the knowledge for free?
So after listening to you, realize that this is not somewhere you want to go.
Exactly. So I learned what I don't want to do, which is sometimes more important than your big vision. You have to know what the anti-goals are super important. And over time, like, we're very close. We share deals, we share knowledge. We've planned events to co-host and stuff on the different parts of the continent, right? So I think to answer the question, people should talk to people who are doing it, right? And it's also a business idea or startup idea. Somebody can do this.
I cannot do it. You champion it.
And if you can't talk to people, to watch podcasts like
exactly,
exactly. Let's go to my question before Pogaki.
Which was the question again?
So you keep
when I was.
So where are you now?
Also,
if you want to talk about it.
I mean, I just left Paystack a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I'd spent over 4 years at Paystack, building from the ground up. It was probably one of the most transformative parts of my career. But I wanted to build something new, take on more risk. So I'm in the process of figuring out what next. So Building Bytes will be the first to hear when it goes public.
Okay, that's great. So we'll briefly go into opportunities and we'll wrap up.
So on opportunities happening is the Mest Africa Challenge, which is a leading Pan-African pitch competition. done across the continent. So if you're interested, you can join in. It's allowing you to win $50,000 in equity and also have access to certain tools and perks from the MEST portfolio. The deadline for application is 26 September 2025.
Kwadwo, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, I think this has been
an interesting
can I also say it's a transformational? Yeah, but it's been a good one.
Thank you very much for coming. And then viewers and listeners, talk to people. Talk to people. And then if you can't talk to them, watch
like,
us talk to them.
subscribe.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.